Fortnite did it. They actually did it. Fortnite brought the OG map back, and they did it well. What they did especially well was recreating the OG map. I don't know if people know this, but Fortnite actually lost the files for the OG map back in Chapter 2, which means they had to recreate it from scratch, which is impressive considering how accurate it is. Anyways, it's time to review. So let's start off with my favorite thing about reviewing a season, the map. Again. To me, the launch of this season shows that the whole "it's just nostalgia" crap pushed by the Chapter 2 and beyond players was total BS, at least for the map. During Chapter 4, it was never really a question on where I was gonna land. I'd usually just autopilot to Brutal Bastion or Mega City. But now with the OG map, I'm constantly wondering, where am I gonna land? Because there are just so many quality POIs. Like, am I going Tilted, or maybe Retail, Pleasant, but what about Salty, or Paradise Palms? No, I'm going Greasy. See, for the past year, we've had giant temples, fancy hotels, and massive cities, but never a real town. Sure, there was Slappy, but that had the big factory, and that's what makes the OG POIs so special. They're simple, yet unique in their own way, while also being able to provide a lot of loot, something the Chapter 4 POIs lack. Not to mention the many landmarks on the OG map that after revisiting shows why the Chapter 1 map is just superior. Some of these places like the mansion or the disco club, you can get an entire squad looted up without having to land at a named location. This is a great way of encouraging new players to play the game since they don't have to land at Tilted to get a decent amount of loot. Not only that, but these landmarks bring back something that Fortnite lost back in Chapter 3, exploration. I remember back in Season 5 exploring places like the soccer field completely uncontested and just messing around. But adding random copy and pasted landmarks around the map doesn't do what Chapter 1 did. It's the variety of things like the motel, the Viking village, or even a hidden villain base that make the Chapter 1 map feel bigger than it actually is, encouraging more exploration. And that's why I give this season's map, when we get the Season 7 update, a 9 out of 10, because not everything's perfect, but it's pretty much as close as they got. Now on to number 2 out of 3, the loot pool. And I'm just gonna say, the AR and the pump should always be in the game. The AR should never leave the game. I'm okay with them taking out the pump for a season to then replace it with something else to then bring it back the next season, because we should never go entire chapters without the pump. Now I'm just gonna generalize the loot pool for a second. It's very solid, okay? We have a lot of nice guns mixed in with each other. One thing I do like about the loot pool this season is that purple or higher weapons are actually rare. If you hear somebody with a scar, you're like, oh shoot, he's got a scar. Back in Chapter 2, scars were a lot more common, and by endgame everyone had one, but not in Chapter 1. The only critique of this I have is that maybe they should be a little more common, because I've gone 10 games in a row without seeing a single one. All of these games I made it at least top 10. Heck, I didn't even know the P90 was in the game until the day after launch, along with snipers. The semi-auto is very common, but I've found that the blue bolt action is about as rare as a purple scar. Chapter 1 was all about insane sniper clips, so I think the bolt action should be as common as the deagle, at least in builds anyways. I will also comment on shields and heals in general being very hard to find, and I gotta say, I have some very revolutionary ideas. Make them more common. Because from my experience, after one build fight, you're pretty much screwed if you don't find a house to loot. So that's it. The loot pool is a solid 9 out of 10. It's a good thing they didn't add anything else that might be a total game changer and make me absolutely miserable. Okay. Loot pool's now a 7 out of 10. At least the grenade launcher's an ammo eater. So the final part of my review would be the content and mechanics added to the game. However, this season's kinda weird since it's basically the best parts from all these seasons in one, which means we're gonna have a lot of content to break down. And from what we know, there's gonna be 3 mini live events and 1 big one. The biggest mechanical change added is the Chapter 4 mechanics in Chapter 1, meaning we have sprinting, sliding, mantling all on the OG map. I've heard many of my friends who haven't played in Chapter 3 and 4 say how they should remove these mechanics, but trust me, as someone who has played in OG Fortnite and new Fortnite, having these mechanics in the game is just a better experience for newer players and for older players. And finally, to those who are complaining about OG graphics, all I have to say is it's not even that bad, at least on lower graphics. All the cinematic shots you've been seeing throughout this video is with ray tracing on, so if you just set your graphics a little lower, it'll basically look identical. I can't even really tell the difference at night, and in the day, it kinda just looks like a modern version of Chapter 1. I want to make something clear. Fortnite will never bring OG graphics back, at least not anytime soon. If you've seen this video, you would know that one of the main reasons Fortnite Chapter 3 was so short is because Fortnite wanted to upgrade the graphics to Unreal Engine 5, and they did this by launching Chapter 4. So appreciate that they tried to replicate it in some way. And to give this season an initial rating, I'd have to go with a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's not perfect, no season is. Maybe you. Almost. But I've never had this much fun playing Fortnite since the launch of Chapter 3, and I'm sure this season will have a higher rating by the end. Also, if this video does well, I might start reviewing other Fortnite seasons because I have a lot to say about them. And before I end this off, my last video got a few views, and that also means that I gained a lot of subscribers. Now I thought reaching 1,000 subs was at least going to take a few more months. Holy, I was wrong. I know every YouTuber says this when I reach a major milestone, but thank you guys. Honestly, it means a lot. I put a lot of work into this, and I appreciate that people are enjoying what I make. But other than all that, like and